I'll be the king of the grifters!
I'm a bird, mother... I'm a bird!
IGN trashed Dragon Ball Sparking Zero with a 7 out of 10 review.
IGN does not know how to review video games. They're run by a whole bunch of retards. Did you know Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which came out, lots of people are saying it's a solid game, that it's awesome, that it's an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. Guess what? IGN gave it a 7, which on paper, a 7 is still passable, right? A 7 out of 10, that's a 70 on a essay at high school. But the main problem that I have with this being rated a 7 out of 10, right, is not only is this a 7, IGN also gave Concord a fucking 7.
Yep.
So Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which is going to sell thousands of copies, make millions of dollars, and be a great game that's supported and played by many people, is rated the same as a game that couldn't even break 1,000 players, and
it couldn't not only break 1,000 players, its shelf life was 2 weeks, and it has the same rating.
Compared to a game like Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which was a continuation of Budokai Tenkaichi, I believe, which people still play to this day, by the way. It's completely mind-boggling. They're out of touch, and they're not gamers.
Its first 2 weeks of launch, a game that ended up being canceled, a game that gave full refunds out, a game that no longer exists, a game that took 8 years of development and was a woke DEI fucking fail, is rated the same as Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. IGN, are you guys functionally retarded? Are you guys retards? Now, I've been told before, well, IGN...
It does look like they're giving the lower rating because it's a skill issue.
The reviewer is the one reviewing it. It's not the website. So the scores are, you know, they depend on how that viewer likes the game. No, that's bullshit. You cannot tell me, even if it's a different reviewer that rated Dragon Ball as a 7... and a different reviewer rated Concord as a 7, that there's not some obvious bullshit here. If you guys can't see that the reason why Concord was scored a 7 is because they're woke shills, they're gaming journalists that are actually activists that had to make Concord a good game, you're an idiot. And I have some oceanfront property in Arizona that I could sell you. There's no way in this bloody blue hell earth that Concord should even been a 7. Having over $500 million lost, again, a failure of a launch, an incompetent studio behind it. Meanwhile, Bandai Namco, who made banger games in the past with Dragon Ball and other anime.
Yeah, I'm not gonna praise Bandai anyways. I do want to take a sneak peek.
And I was forced to fight a character that was canonically stronger than mine in the manga or anime. They were just as oppressive in-game as I'd expect. I didn't always like it, but
Okay, so he didn't like that the characters were canonically stronger, which they implemented in the game.
Yep.
Okay.
You're supposed to be sweating.
The last entry of the series I played with fervor, but that was right after Barack Obama was elected.
What does that have to do with Dragon Ball?
But targeted drills, or a more nuanced customization of CPU behaviors, would go a long way to help beginners and returning players fly up to the high skill floor.
The whole point of these games is not just, press a button and fly up to the high skill pool. It's all about getting good.
Getting your ass beat over and over again until you actually can play. Fighting games are not for the faint of heart. They were literally the Dark Souls of gaming.
So many of the menus are a hassle to navigate. For example, you can customize characters' abilities and costumes to be used in all modes, but those modes don't have paths to the customized screen within them, so you have to exit one completely and go the long way to make adjustments. This was barely...
What's the problem with this part?
I feel like they're catering for the people who's been waiting for this kind of game. They want it to be cinematic.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you guys been waiting for this for years, decades. We got you guys. This is for the fans. And for fighting game enthusiasts as well, probably.
The thing he's complaining about with the menu, I don't get it.
all I see is passion in the menu being thought out. Like, this doesn't make sense at all to me.
Episode battles can be very difficult, since powerful characters can become all but immune to your normal attacks and will always have the perfect defense to match your offense, making it tough to experiment and find these largely hidden special conditions when the pressure is on.
Why does it sound like this person never actually watched Dragon Ball?
Yeah, it was literally Goku getting dogged on for the first, like, what? Most of the season?
Like, the amount... Like, all of the Saiyans had to die just to become stronger and finally defeat the big bad baddie.
They either die or get beaten down.
And when they die, they come back stronger.
Yep.
There's a shoddy system for putting together dialogue so that some sort of narrative can be added to them, but the best it can do is loosely set up make-believe stakes. I had no plans to write my own entire Dragon Ball arc, but I am not sure the tool's up to the task even if I wanted to.
What?
So he doesn't want to test out the feature, but he will still dog on the feature. Then that's not a review. By default, this is a flawed review then.
Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is a final flash from the past, sometimes to a fault, as demonstrated by its archaic menus and remedial training tools. Its episode battles have the kind of reaction-heavy difficulty that doesn't really exist in most games these days.
Huh? Wait.
Okay, let me translate this for you. It's too hard for me. Make game easier. Give me journalism, please.
No way he said that. Go back. You have to rewind that.
Its episode battles have the kind of reaction-heavy difficulty that doesn't really exist in most games these days.
Trophy participation kid right here.
Back to a simpler time when games didn't have to be balanced or competitive to be fun is a good one. Especially when that action stays so true to that of the show it's recreating.
Brother, what?
It doesn't have to be balanced or competitive to be fun?
Brother, it's a fighting game. What do you mean?
They had local tournaments for the old games. This game has always been competitive.
Buy the game.
Properties, fighting games, things like that, is rated a 7, and you can see right here, the blurb, I guess, says Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is a final flash from the past, sometimes to a fault, but the feeling of traveling back to a simpler time when games didn't have to be balanced or competitive to be fun is still a good one. Like, what kind of fucking blurb is that? I didn't even take the time to read the rest of your fucking review because I saw that Concord was rated the same. Right? But also, the thing that pisses me the fuck off, and just wait till you see this, because rating it the same as Concord is one fucking thing, but look at this. Not only is Sparking Zero also a 7, not only is Concord a 7, but fucking Dustborn is a 7.
Which is not a game.
Not a game. That's a PowerPoint with voice actors.
It has the same rating as a game that lasted 2 weeks, and it has the same rating as something that's not a game.
So are you telling me that this person, Rachel Weber, who reviewed Dustborn on the PlayStation 5, knows what the fuck she's talking about? How in the blue hell is Dustborn, a game that is woke as fuck, a game that is literally inspired by the election of Donald Trump, a game that is literally touted as the wokest game of all time, on par with Dragon Ball? If anything, this should be a 2. This should be a 5. And if we're going to keep this a 7, so be it. My main issue is the fact that it's rated the same as 2 of the worst failures in gaming to have come out this year. There's no defending this. I don't care if you hate anti-woke, or if you think Grums is a piece of shit, or Smash JT's a shill, or Hypnotic's an idiot, or Vera Dark's a fucking girl that doesn't know how to put on her glasses. I don't care what you have to say about grifters, all right? The real grift is this. IGN is clearly rage baiting when they're putting these reviews out.
I don't think IGN is even rage baiting. I think what is happening is they don't even understand what kind of employees they need to hire. So when you review games, you do have to have reviewers specifically for the genre of games. You cannot put an MMO player to review a fighting game, same as you cannot put a FPS player to review a MOBA. just as an example. This is not just rage baiting. This is simply incompetence.
This is a joke. This has to be a bad fucking troll. And then to say Dustborn's good, that it gives you an exciting, emotional ride, if you stick with it through a slow start, like fuck off. Literally nobody's played Dustborn. Literally nobody has played Dustborn. It's on sale right now, by the way, for like $20. You couldn't pay me $20 to play this game. And Concord, we already know about that.
And again, play the game. You guys threw money at me, so I played the game. I'll play the game. It's not a fucking game.
We already know about a big failure of this. So, IGN gave Dragon Ball a 7. If you don't think there's something wrong with this review scale, even though
there's a lot wrong with it.
Reviewers each game, there has to be a set review scale. GamePro had it best. Remember they had the little cartoon faces? At least their reviews were somewhat uniform. IGN's just a bunch of fucking morons. They literally have no business reviewing games. Now, they're getting flamed on their Twitter. They're getting flamed completely. You can see right here, just need to remind you how IGN scale works. And again, showing Concord. Deo says,
I actually want to take a peek at those tweets. You guys ready to laugh? The same rating at Dustborn. Just to remind you how IGN scale works. Well, thank goodness no one takes you seriously anymore.
They're getting flamed completely. You can see right here, just need to remind you how IGN scale works. And again, showing Concord. Deo says, well, thank goodness no one takes y'all serious anymore. And that's right. Nobody's taking IGN serious at all. You can see Fume Gaming says, I'm playing it and loving it. Solid 8 out of 10. And right here, BK Word 1 says, frustrating at time. Get good, noobs. I give it a solid 9 out of 10. Sparking Zero is a faithful remaster with a fresh spin, adding mechanics that push players to not only master the basics, but also learn individual character gameplay, adding depth that stays true to the power, right? Power scaling of the original series. So these are people that are actually showing real in-depth reviews, and they're not professional gaming journalists. They got beat by that great bad, by that great ape Vegeta. They gave it a 7. Everybody's saying that ape battle with Vegeta is tough, so of course IGN is going to rate it. Wasn't IGN the same gaming journalist website that couldn't even get past the Cuphead tutorial? They're getting absolutely fucking destroyed.
You can't make fun of that guy.
Can't spell ignorant without IGN. I give it at least.
To be fair, I don't remember if he was part of IGN, but the fact that the publishing house literally just threw them off a cliff with that, it just basically shows even the culture of the game reviewer.
For me, what are you drinking, IGN? Nobody takes IGN serious. I give the shit a 9, can't front. No balance means bad competitive. Look, see, everybody's saying accurate 8 out of 10 if you want to be generous. I disagree, and even then an 8 is good. The problem is the fact that you're rating it the same as the 2 biggest video game failures this year. And you can't fucking sit here and pretend that it was a whole bunch of right-wing grifters that ruined Dustborn and Concord. Okay? If there's anything that
Dustborn not a game.
Gaming journalists have no fucking idea what they're fucking doing, especially IGN. It's this. Like, I could be like, okay, you know what? Maybe a 6 for Concord. A 7, but if Concord's a 7, then Dragon Ball's a fucking 9. Don't be a jackass. And if Concord's a 7, Dustborn's like a 3 or a 2. This is way too high for Dustborn, and this is debatable, if anything at all. but this is just flat out fucking wrong, and I'm glad that IGN's being called out for it.
The people who call YouTubers who are talking about it grifters, they are part of the problem. Because unless you call out bad practices, it's never gonna change.
These journalists are activists. They will only shill for what they like. They will only shill for woke products, which is why these two are rated so high. These 2 games should not be rated that high. If you're going to put Dragon Ball as a 7, it's proof that Concord and Dustborn were being shilled by IGN to rate it the same. So I just wanted to call it out. It's bullshit. It's honest bullshit. And you can sit here all day and say I'm a triggered fucking neckbeard or whatever, but you cannot sit here and pretend that all three of these games are a fucking 7. That is retarded. That is ridiculous. And that is stupid. And IGN is a fucking joke.
They are a joke.
IGN is a joke for this, guys. And again, like I said, getting fucking trashed. IGN puke. It's a 7 because it lacks diversity. That's probably what they really think. Because, you know, they're stupid. They are stupid. If there's no woke politics in the game, they're not going to like it. The amount of weird...
I mean, they're literally inserting... It's like, if they don't insert at least a little bit of politics, they'll just combust.
Weirdos y'all got writing reviews needs a review. That's exactly. IGN needs a review. You see, Ultraman said IGN gave it a 7, then the game's a 10. Funny how gaming journalists score works these days. You gave Concord a 7, that makes Dragon Ball at least a 9 or a 10. A fucking man, right? A fucking man. How did y'all give this same score as a game that went offline in less than 2 weeks? Exactly. Nobody was like, Concord's a fucking amazing game. It's a 9. Nobody in the world said it was a 9 out of 10. And I believe GameSpot gave Dragon Ball a 6 too. GameSpot's another fucking shill website. Nobody once ever said Concord was a fucking 9. Nobody.
Okay, so the bottom line is, if you want to know if the game is good, watch a content creator play the game, see how many issues they have. Do not listen them saying it's good, it's bad. See if they're having fun. See how many bugs there is during their stream. Look at the performance while they're playing.